The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Monday, the most important day of the week, and it is also October 7th. And you're going to love this. Today is National Propane Day for all that gaslighting out there, you guys. Mm-hmm.
Propane and cocaine.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. Look at that. Oh, man. It's also National Trigeminal Neuralgia Awareness Day. I may have murdered that, but I think I said it right. It's also
TMG, bro. That stuff hurts.
Mm-hmm.
You've made us very aware, Jason, since we don't know if we pronounced it right or not.
Well, I mean, Matthew didn't say I didn't, so. It's also National Chocolate Covered Pretzel Day.
I get behind that one.
Mm-hmm. National Inner Beauty Day.
Oh,
yeah, it's cute.
That one's mine.
Yeah, I bet.
No.
Yeah. It's also National LED Light Day, you guys, for all you light show.
Ooh.
Yeah. You don't like LED
Shout out
lights?
to the LED.
I like him for Burning Man, just not for weed.
No, I was gonna say I thought you were a big fan of LEDs.
You're right. Just not for weed.
Fair enough. I'm not mad at that, Mathieu St. Germain. HPS is for the win. And yes, and thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look down below or up above on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet, and we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. Now, kicking it off today, that's right, we have the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte. Look at this, the East LA hat sporter today. It is the dope dad himself. It is none other than Rico Lamitte.
Oh yeah, is my mic better now? If not, I'm gonna just try to cut it off.
You just go with it. Go with it, Rico. I mean, you're a rapper on Mondays, apparently.
I'm a rapper? What? I'm a rapper? I don't know.
Yeah, you sound like T-Pain.
It's all that reverb those girls try to use to make their voices sound pretty.
Exactly.
Do I really now?
Go ahead, just run with it, bro. It's already there, bro.
Does it sound better?
Just go with it. You just gotta own it.
Jesus, I hate you guys sometimes.
You live here now, Rico.
That's right.
I don't live here. I'm a visitor. All right, so that being said, we're going to talk about California today. California Governor Gavin Newsom finally signed into law 2 weeks ago Assembly Bill 1775, allowing for Amsterdam-style cannabis cafes, something that nearly everybody in the industry actually agreed on being the right thing to do. But naturally, with California being the pot-friendly state that it is, and being so for so long, you didn't hear much partisan pushback on Newsom's decision. You know, a welcome break from the heightened trend of every damn headline in the world being politically polarized these days. But y'all knew it wouldn't be long before we'd hear some bullshit, right? Well, it took 8 days for the Republican state propaganda media Fox News to find and amplify the loudest op in the room. And according to Augustine Hayes' reporting, at least one celebrity chef stepped up to voice his concerns, warning that the introduction of Amsterdam-style cannabis cafes in California would be an absolute disaster. Per the article, in an interview with Fox Business's Varney and Company Friday, chef and restaurant owner Andrew Gruel weighed in on why he believes that the introduction would ultimately not pan out well for the Golden State. I'm an open market guy, the celebrity chef said. As long as you're not infringing on anybody else's or somebody's liberties, I would say go for it. The unfortunate reality is that in California, this isn't going to work because you don't have a regulatory framework set up where you can actually police it. The new law authorizes local jurisdictions to allow licensed cannabis retailers to prepare and sell food and non-alcoholic drinks, as well as host and sell tickets for events on their licensed premises. And this means that dispensaries can operate as cafes, complete with hot food, beverages, and live music performances. Gruel continued to argue against the move by saying that we already see it with bars and restaurants where drunk people are spilling out all over the place. Somebody gets stabbed and nothing else happens. They get let back out on the streets. In California already smells like, the World Fair of skunks. Everybody's smoking everywhere. But now you introduce this into a food setting and potentially have kids around. There it is. The kids. I just don't think that Newsom can handle this. I don't think the state of California can manage this. If this were Florida or another state, I'd say, yeah, go for it. Meatball Ron thinks otherwise, but I'll continue. So what? You got a couple of guys eating extra donuts and getting high at a cafe. But in California, I'm telling you, this would be an absolute disaster. Tell us, all right? True to Fox News forum, Augustine never asked any follow-up questions, requesting evidence of any form for his remarks or giving any pushback on the chef's parroting of Kevin Sabet's New Age Reefer Badness talking points. But of course, a quick Google search for Chef Andrew Gruel will lead you to finding out that he is the founder and executive chef of Slapfish Restaurant, a food truck turned international brick and mortar based out of Huntington Beach, California. For the non-locals watching and listening today, that's Orange County, California's own bizarro world, Austin, Texas. Whereas Austin's the bright blue dot in a sea of state red, the OC is our bright shining red in a state of blue. So of course, it wouldn't be hard for Fox News subsidiary Fox Business, best known for giving Ja Rule a platform for expert economic hot takes, to find one of Jason Beck's neighbors hating on the mere idea of cannabis cafes in his own backyard. Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News, and those are just my thoughts. Maybe I'm missing the mark on this one, but what do the rest of y'all think? Is Gruel out here spitting bars?
I mean,
Jason?
this guy is coming from an uneducated perspective on this whole issue. Because first of all, he's saying that there'll be kids there, and we all know that that's not reality. You have to be 21 and over to enter any of these establishments.
Did you think Fox News would push back on those comments, though, Jason?
I don't care if they do or they don't. Really?
Well, let's be gentle to Fox News on a Monday morning and suggest that their interviewers were not compliance specialists.
I think that's a fair assumption there, Yarrow.
Let's just break this down a little bit further. If you're in the food industry, if you are a professional chef and your last name is Gruel, you need to get into a different business, because last I checked was a peasant porridge that was served in the Middle Ages and was not known for being culinarily desirable. So you're named for the bottom of the barrel food source, and you're being quoted on what is arguably a partisan news channel. The challenge that I have is this false equivalency that as long as it's under a Republican governor in a different sunshine state, it might be acceptable, but here under Newsom, it's just another example.
I can understand why he would say that. I can understand why he would say that.
Red.
Have you noticed what's going on in California? Have you seen what's going on in LA with the flash mob style robberies, with these fucking people getting beaten in their stores trying to defend it because they know the police aren't coming, and the police aren't coming because they're going to write all this paperwork up and they're not going to prosecute these people. So, I mean, I could understand that frustration. Now, also, I will say, and I'll throw this onus onto Jason Beck, because I live in Newport Beach, was slightly farther from his new friend, Mr. Cruel. Jason, I think you need to go to his restaurant with your microphone. I think you need to educate him.
I'm down to go over there and film a little video in regards to this and talk with him, and maybe, you know what I'm saying, I'll smoke some of the best weed in the world on the sidewalk and see what he has to say about consumption at his restaurant.
I'm gonna call the police, but
I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about none of that, Jenny Beth.
I'm gonna call you an immigrant.
We live in Orange County now. They come, Jason.
I understand that. I'm still not worried about all of that.
Call you illegal and call the cops on you. Say, I've never seen this man here before.
Right. Who is this guy? This
is just an uneducated, and since it's National Propane Day, I guess it's appropriate that Rico try to gaslight everybody.
Oh, this is Fox News. This is what they do, bro.
I understand.
Oh boy. No, this is High at 9 News, and this is also what you do. But,
yeah, exactly.
I think
Thank you, Jenny.
I think it's very easy to figure this out, because Jason, you have the name of his restaurant, you have his name, and you live right up the street.
I do.
So I think,
you know what? I think
roll in there, have a fish taco.
I think
you and
this
Dana,
guy,
and you guys try to educate.
I think this guy should change his one letter in his last name. I think he should change the G to a D.
I think you should get on here. You should get on the panel with Ja Rule, Fox Business, and just tear this
Ja Rule
apart.
might be the only person that is shorter than both Yarrow and Mathieu St. Germain.
But is he shorter than you?
All right. Well, so that was a good talk.
Fair enough. Shout out to Troy Lawrence with a big old super chat who says, privileged Willy Wonka ticket holders get an scapegoat and locals get vetoed. Cali, corruption, control. Michigan is king now. Shake my head, you guys.
Shake my damn head.
Shout out to Troy Lawrence with a big old super chat. Much appreciated. Looks like we're getting some Wagyu this week, Rico. Yes. I mean, I am interested. I wonder how amazing his tacos. So you guys said that he has a taco truck, and then his taco truck has became a nationwide chain. Am I correct on this?
Yeah, food truck is called, and he has appeared as a judge on Food Network's Food Truck Face Off.
Food Truck Face Off. Interesting.
Yeah, his food truck turned restaurant is called Slapfish. Jason, do you like to slap fish?
SLAP fish.
Slapfish.
Man.
Maybe the fish slap. You know where you could find it? You could find it in the article on our own station, High at 9 News.
That's right. Fair enough. Fair enough. And on that, we are going to roll. We are going to roll right into our first commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Research and find all that shit about him, because of course Fox News wants you to think that they are fair and balanced. Like, no.
Fox News is fair and balanced.
No,
oh boy.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California, with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
And we are back.
Check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing.
There's your reverb right there again, Rico, kicking in.
Not me. That wasn't me.
Way to go, Rico.
See, that wasn't me. Y'all know it wasn't me.
We all know it's you, Rico. It's okay.
The only black man on the show.
Y'all know what I mean. We're going to need a plea agreement signed, Jay. Rico.
Exactly.
It must have been a good weekend.
You could avoid jail time, but we're going to need you to sign this plea, okay?
The party and partisan himself here back like he left something this Monday morning. And of course, he's sitting behind the desk because he doesn't want to stand up.
I stand up for all kinds of things, Rico. Freedom, liberty, free speech.
Rather for everything. Here it is, the I9 News head honcho, the man known for smoking the best weed in the world, wherever he is, and the highest Republican in every room that he walks into.
Facts.
Jason Bill.
Yeah. Happy Monday, you guys. Rico, thank you so much today, man. Hope you're feeling all right today.
I'm feeling great today, man.
Good. I'm glad to know that your voice came back. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Jason?
Yeah, let me tell you what else is coming back, you guys, because at least 91,000 signatures are verified for an Arkansas marijuana amendment, and the officials have officially confirmed. That's right. On Friday, Arkansas officials have confirmed at least 91,000 signatures were verified as part of the Arkansas Medical Marijuana Amendment of 2024. This comes after the Arkansas Supreme Court ordered Secretary of State John Thurston, that's a great name, to verify the remaining signatures submitted during the cure period. Following the count, the verification states that the submitted signatures are more than required 90,704. In a quote, I can confirm that no less than 91,000 signatures were verified pursuant to the counting as ordered by the Arkansas Supreme Court, said Leslie Bellamy, Director of Elections at the Arkansas Secretary of State's office. The original order from the Arkansas Supreme Court came after Thurston initially said that the marijuana proposal fell short due to a signature requirement. And the effort, the Arkansas Medical Marijuana Amendment of 2024, aims to expand access to medical marijuana by qualified patients. This would allow certain medical professionals to certify patients, expand the list of qualifying medical conditions, and more, you guys. A day after Thurston's initial denial of the proposal, the sponsor of the measure announced a lawsuit against Thurston for how he handled the signatures of the medical marijuana amendment, you guys. And Arkansas's for Patient Access, better known as APA, the ballot committee sponsoring the proposed medical marijuana amendment, filed the lawsuit which challenged Thurston's decision not to count about 28,413 signatures and asking the Arkansas Supreme Court to certify their measure for the ballot ahead of the start of early voting on October 21st. According to documents, APA submitted over 150,000 voter signatures supporting the proposed amendment, surpassing the required 90,704. However, Thurston sent a letter to the group stating that 10,521 of the signatures submitted during the cure period were valid, bringing the total to 88,040. In the lawsuit, APA argued that Thurston wrongfully refused to validate and count signatures because some of the group's paid canvassers were not registered before collecting signatures, you guys. Well. Congratulations to all of the Arkansasians out there who are going to get to vote on this amendment, and I can't wait to see this amendment pass and see what kind of other effects it has on down ballot measures. But nonetheless, this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News, and what do y'all have to say about this Arkansas voter
I just
amendment?
love how excited you get about numbers, Jason. Have y'all ever noticed how much emphasis Jason puts on reading numbers?
I love
He
numbers.
loves it.
I love numbers.
I know. I love that for you.
loved it.
I mean, I'm just glad that they got the number that's going to allow them on the ballot. I think that we've seen a few states right now that are having these arguments over did they not get enough signatures, and it's just like, let the people vote, let the will of the people be heard, give at least a chance for access.
Did he do
This
it?
is good news, I think.
God.
No, he did it.
No.
Hey, can we call them super Arkansans?
Arkansans. I'm shout out to the Razorbacks out there, you guys.
No.
Rico,
Hater.
you're not
Rico's a
playing
hater.
this year, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Only be one. Man. Let's hope Arkansas gets this thing right. We know that they won't, but they're struggling in the right way.
They're struggling in the right way. They're going to have this amendment on the ballot. What do you mean they're struggling?
We can talk about when they're struggling with my story, because we'll get some more of that struggle.
That's what I said. They're struggling forward. They're struggling.
Struggling forward. That's a very big Democratic talking point right there.
No, it's not. Ain't no nothing Democratic. Big D Democratic. Me. I'm saying they're fighting the right fight.
They're fighting the right fight. Interesting.
Are they fighting the right enemy, Rico?
You have any thoughts on this, Yarrow?
Not too much. I mean, we've covered this, and so this is kind of a follow-up article here on High at 9 News. So I feel like I kind of shot my shot in terms of my opinions around both this process, and I think the intention of some undesirables to use the judicial branch to slow down the way in which the majority of that state is able to lodge their opinion and their perspective about what the future of that state looks like in respects to coherent cannabis policy. And so I'm all for democracy and the risks associated with it. And whenever I see this kind of preemptive litigation, to me, it seems like the white collar way of really stifling democracy and the people's voice. And so I'm happy to see this thing sort of play out in a way that starts to feel a little bit more fair. It gives me a little confidence that the system isn't just completely skewed against the common folk when we see these things get smacked down. And we've seen a couple other rulings from judges over there where they didn't just put in a temporary injunction. And I'm hopeful that they can have that vote can be accurately counted, and that the dust up around the notary or these other little things that might be true but aren't really changing the overall bigger picture are able to be right-sized as distractions. And hopefully they get a great program out there because they're really, really behind the curve.
Fair enough. Any thoughts on this, Mathieu St. Germain?
I'm currently arguing about LED versus HPS and making friends in the stream. Sorry, I will do a better job.
Sick. So you're doing a great job.
Yeah, you're doing
HPS weed is better still. Don't be wrong.
Yeah, HPS, I'm with you.
Shout out to those double-ended Gavitas.
I'm not saying LED weed isn't good. I'm just saying every time I've had LED weed next to HPS weed,
HPS is better.
HPS weed is just a little bit better. But I'm open to change my mind.
I'm not.
Let's smoke some weed about it.
I'm not open to changing my mind because we've already made up our mind that HPS is better.
It is.
I'm open-minded.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. We're 3 in agreement over here, you guys.
I'm looking at my LEDs that I refuse to use sitting over in the corner of my fucking office right now. You know why? Because they're trash.
See what I'm saying? Millie, do you know how to put up a thing, a poll? Yeah, do you know how to put a poll in the chat? Amazing, she does. All right, so let's put a poll up. I want to see what the chat has to say about this. Do you guys prefer LED weed or HPS weed?
And put a third option for what?
Sun-grown. What about sun-grown, bro?
No one smokes sun-grown, bro.
Sun is better. The only problem is the low barrier to entry has so much bullshit in the sun-grown category that it can be, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. But well-grown, sun-grown.
Sun-grown's better for concentrates, bro. Sun-grown's better for concentrates. That's pretty much
true
it.
as well.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty much it.
What's your story about Jason?
Yeah. We are going to roll right in to, that's right, High at Nine's very own elf on the shelf, Mr. Yarrow Kubrin. He's the angry one that likes to get things done when he's talking about real estate, cannabis, and every now and again when there's money on the table, maybe there's some cannabis real estate to get into. That's right. It is none other than Mr. Yarrow Kubrin.
Jason really took my intro and ran with it, huh, Yarrow?
I like the hazing. I'm so thirsty for attention. I'll take the negative attention.
So we're changing your name to Yarrow Thurston?
You can change my name however you want. A Yarrow is a Yarrow by any other name, so it is all good. Hey,
you posted a very nice picture this weekend, and you look tall, though, by the way, Yarrow. I commented on
It's the angle. It's the angle, Jenny Beth.
It was 3 generations.
Speaking of the angle of the dangle, without further ado, my article this Monday morning is about New York, the gift I've always said would keep on giving. And this morning, they've done a really good job of giving me easy, low-hanging fruit with which to cover, discuss, debate, and hopefully diatribe if I play my cup of coffee right. So, without further ado, this is Yarrow Kubrin. Good morning, Monday, October 7th. Without further ado, New York City. New York City sheriff's deputies say weed crackdown is hampering domestic violence services. That's right. They said that with a straight face. Deputies in New York City's sheriff's office who serve orders of protection or stay away orders on behalf of domestic violence victims say they are having trouble keeping up. citing staff shortages and the diversion of personnel to cannabis enforcement. Deputies who spoke to the Gothamist said they are supposed to make 3 attempts at different times of day to serve orders of protection, which require the recipient to stay away from the person they are accused of harassing or abusing, at least until the case can be heard in court. But the deputies say they are often only able to make 1 attempt because they lack the necessary personnel, and sometimes put off the initial attempts if they have other competing demands. Ingrid Simonovic, president of the New York City Deputy Sheriff's Association, raised concerns about orders of protection at a city council hearing last month on the city's cannabis enforcement effort. The sheriff's office is leading the crackdown in illegal cannabis shops, which has become a priority for both Miranda and indicted Mayor Eric Adams. We have received hundreds of complaints from New Yorkers demanding to know what's going on with their orders of protection, Simonik told lawmakers at the hearing. Since when does a cannabis shop closing take priority over safekeeping the lives of women who are victimized by domestic violence? 4 other deputies voiced the same concern in interviews with Gothamists, meaning they were all on the same talking points. They requested anonymity because they feared retaliation from Sheriff Anthony Miranda. Deputy sheriffs are required to follow all legal mandates with supervisors in place on multiple levels to ensure their responsibilities are being carried out properly. Ryan Lavis, a spokesman for the Department of Finance, which includes the sheriff's office, said in a statement emailed to Gothamist on Thursday. The deputies' concerns arise as Adams has celebrated Miranda for leading the effort to shut down more than 1,100 unlicensed weed stores since May. Deputies who spoke to the Gothamist expressed concerns about Miranda's focus on cannabis enforcement and emphasized that they have a wide range of other civil enforcement tasks to carry out, including executing evictions and transporting people to the hospital for court-ordered psychiatric assessment. Multiple deputies said their workload can be overwhelming. Oh, you mean you have a stressful job? Given the office's limited personnel. Overall, there are just under 200 employees currently working in the sheriff's office, and over 100 budgeted positions are unfilled. Oh, you have a hard time filling the unfilled positions? According to the agency. To address attrition and other staffing issues dating back to prior administrations. Oh, you mean before legal cannabis? This administration has held a deputy sheriff's examination in April of 2023, the first since 2017, and we are anticipating a new class of approximately 90 recruits this fall. Lavis said in a statement. Remember, 90 recruits this fall means they're still below the 100 positions that are as of yet unfilled. But hey, let's blame cannabis. Only about 30 employees from the sheriff's office are assigned to cannabis enforcement. Oh, so you have 200 employees and 15% of them are related to cannabis work? Okay, I get it. But apparently that's going to cause domestic abuse issues to spike. So let's get back down into the numbers. So only 30 employees in the sheriff's office are assigned to cannabis enforcement, Miranda said at the city council hearing. But deputies who are not specifically assigned to that operation say they are still sometimes directed to go inspect a shop, which pulls them away from other duties. Miranda sent a staff a memo addressing Simonovic's concerns at the city council hearing, which a sheriff's office employee shared with Gothamists. It is the position of the sheriff's office that all personnel have been compliant with the law, and the sheriff's office is not aware of any misconduct, Miranda wrote in the September 23rd memo. Due to the serious nature of the allegations, we are providing clarity that all legal requirements for the service of orders of protection are mandated to be followed. Miranda went on to say that in the memo that he had referred this matter to the Department of Investigations for immediate action. Diane Struzzi, a spokesperson for the city's Department of Investigation, confirmed that the sheriffs had referred to DOI concerns about the proper serving of orders of protection, and the DOI is reviewing that referral. Sheriff's deputies who spoke to the Gothamist said they had received directives in recent weeks to make 3 attempts to serve orders of protection, but they said it is still challenging due to staffing levels. Remember, they need 300 people. There are 200 people. That means they are at 66% of the staff that they're supposed to have. But of course, never mind that. It's cannabis's fault. So it's still challenging due to staffing levels and Miranda's decision about how to distribute personnel. Simonovic said in a phone call to Gothamist that deputies prioritize orders of protection that require someone to be removed from their home. But she said sometimes other types of orders of protection get pushed to the last minute since they can be served up until the day before the scheduled court date. The Department of Investigation is also currently investigating the sheriff's office for allegedly failing to properly account for cash seized during cannabis raids. Oy vey, that's an old playbook, right? So before I hand this back to my other guest pundits and talking heads, let me just start by saying I'm going to use an analogy of my own analogy. I've often talked on this show about the way in which cannabis taxes are allocated towards causes that deserve to be funded no matter what, and that because those taxes are allocated towards good causes, it makes it harder to dismantle the onerous tax structure that is poised or is thrust upon regulated cannabis businesses. So I'm seeing similarities here, which is this idea that they're suggesting that limited staffing means they're having to choose between typically protecting women from domestic abuse versus shutting down the unlicensed bodegas. And the framing of that with a department that hasn't filled 33% of the positions that it is authorized to fill, and that still doesn't have a plan to get to that because they only have 90 cadets that are scheduled to come through in the fall. The idea that they have to choose between supporting a regulated cannabis industry, and frankly, we don't know that enforcement is actually the key to doing that, enforcement against unregulated businesses, or protecting the victims of domestic abuse, is a false paradigm that, in my opinion, is most likely being used to justify a request for increased funding to the department. So I think when you strip away the salacious nature of protecting women and children and making sure society is safe for those that need the safety of our police department, I think really what this is a cash grab. The request will come for more funding under the auspices that they have limited staffing, even if they haven't even filled the seats they're authorized to hire for. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. I'd like to hear what everybody else thinks and feels.
So you're telling me that there's only 30 officers that are designated for Operation Padlock, Yarrow?
I'm saying that there are only 30 officers whose duties include cannabis enforcement.
Yeah, that's Operation Padlock.
30 out of 300, but they only have 200 people. So what they're saying is, hey, we are at 66% capacity for the size of the team we're supposed to have. And even though we haven't been able to fill the other seats and we're 100 people short, we are going to blame the lack of unlimited bandwidth on the fact that we are enforcing against the illegal bodegas. And because we're enforcing against the illegal bodegas, the safety of women who are subject to domestic abuse is being lessened.
Well, the safety of women who have dealt with domestic abuse, as someone who has been through that, is the fact that the courts don't protect women and fucking children. So let's just go ahead and start looking at that. I'd love to see their conviction rates and people actually having to serve through sentences or do something other than an anger management class for beating the shit out of their wife on a Friday night. So let's stop throwing women and children in there for the reason why we can't do our jobs properly.
That's right. That's right. But since women and children are a category that most people at least profess to care about on paper, let's throw them in the mix so that we can justify asking for more funding to do our job, because apparently we can't do our job while we're trying to enforce against these bodegas. And
we care about women and children as far as their husband can throw them.
And not funny too soon, but still pretty on point. And when we have 100 officer positions that are unfilled, why don't we complain about something besides the fact that we don't have a full house, full staff, full team?
So, I'm still confused by these numbers, bro. I don't know if these numbers are real. You're telling me that there's only 300 law enforcement officers on any one shift in New York City?
What the article says, and I am not an expert.
That just sounds really low to me, a really low number.
Maybe that's for Manhattan only?
Well, this is the sheriff's department, so maybe it's not the police department, so maybe this is a different department.
Okay, all right.
That NYPD.
Got it. So
and so according to the article, there's supposed to be 300 sheriffs, and there's only 200, and because those 200 are also helping with the enforcement against the illegal bodegas. Those 200 who are supposed to be 300 are having a hard time also fulfilling their duties in respects to stay away orders, specifically on domestic violence victims.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting. The sheriff's department. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, there's got to be way more cops for NYPD out there than 300.
Instead of Google, and they're saying about 10,000 NYPD.
Yeah, that I could see something like that.
But the sheriff is gonna be smaller because you have to handle the whole county.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me is we've got this massive deficit of staffing in this department. They're 200 out of 300. If I was going to give you a grade and I was your middle school English teacher, 66% is a D, right? So they're getting a D in filling the roles that are available to fill. And according to the article, they haven't had a sheriff's examination since 2017.
A sheriff's examination, huh?
Which is the precursor to a new class of recruits. And so their most recent sheriff's examination was April of 2023. But they went from 2017 to 2023 without having one of those examinations. So that's about 6 years. So if I was doing something every 6 years when I was so drastically low on the number of staff on my team, I'm not sure that appears to be an aggressive attempt to fill those roles and have more men and women in blue providing the services that the sheriff's department provides across the spectrum of issues, whether it's domestic violence, bodegas, you name it. When you're only at 66% occupancy, you're fucking up. No way around that.
Interesting. I mean, I think a lot of this has to do with the low morale, of people wanting to join into policing because of a lot of the whole defund the police and the fact that a lot of officers, when they make arrests, that the AG's office isn't making the prosecution, so they're just like, what's the point of doing all this?
Well, I think defund the police is a little bit of a false identifier for a term that got inadequately birthed 4 or 5 years ago to talk about a desire by the civilians to see a greater level of accountability within police departments across the country. And so it's something that I hear echoed by the right as continuing, because it was a crazy term for what it was actually intended to mean. Nobody was saying, don't give law enforcement the resources to do their job.
They were saying that. They were definitely saying that.
What they were really saying, and before it got hijacked by the Talking Point Society, was demilitarize the police. Which were saying, let's stop treating the police like a military, and let's stop briefing the police on the good guys versus the bad guys. Stop training the police in such a way that they see the entire polity that they're supposed to serve and protect as their enemy and the bad guys.
I think that's a very fair statement, Mathieu St. Germain.
On Twitter and on the air, most people have about a third grade education and can't deal with a subtle and or nuanced talking point such as, we should demilitarize the police. We should stop giving them these military vehicles that are basically used for foreign expeditionary wars, murder people who have RPGs, and setting them loose in our townships to drive through people's fucking buildings and escalate when they could de-escalate. What they really meant is, let's train the police further, de-escalation, compassionate outreach towards the people they are supposed to protect and serve. They're not just terrorizing people. They are actually protecting, serving people. And I think protect and serve isn't just the innocent, it's also the people who are transgressing the law. You should still be required to protect and serve those people.
You know what, Mathieu St. Germain? That might have been one of the best things that I've heard you ever say on this show.
Aw, thanks, Brother Jay.
Because I think that maybe the whole defund the police, they should have hired you to help work on their messaging campaign, because
it was a dumb fucking thing to say, and it's not what they meant.
Yeah, well, it is. To me, I think it is what they meant, because if their actions speak louder than words, and that's just what it is. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. I really liked what you said,
There is one thing before you transition, which is that being in civil service is still a very noble profession. I think there are a lot of people who are still attracted to the stability that the opportunity to be line staff in law enforcement organizations provides them, the health care, as well as the money and the accolades and the overtime. And so I think it's just an unfair depiction only coming out of the right to suggest that this mutated term from 4 years ago is the reason why a sheriff's department can't fill 100 seats.
I think it is. I think it is why. I think that public perception and morale is super low. And when you got these neighborhoods thinking to hate the police all the time for everything, that's basically what it creates. And this is just a offshoot of those actions. There's a consequence of those actions.
That's a stretch even the most adept yoga teacher couldn't achieve.
Bro, trust me, bro. I've been on my yoga game, bro. So you know what I mean. But I don't think that's a stretch at all. Maybe a little tug.
Easy.
I'm not touching that. Even in my
I'm not tugging Yarrow's string.
And on that, they're not going to tug on Yarrow's cord. We're going to put him back on the shelf, and we're going to be back right after this commercial break.
I'm Cole Preston, and today I'm at Blue Island Beer Company for the premiere of my mini documentary on legalization policy in Illinois. I've been following cannabis policy since colorful Colorado legalized it all the way back in the day, and when my home state of Illinois decided to legalize it, I just became enamored. I wondered, what would it actually look like? If you'd like to see how Illinois fell short in achieving meaningful reform in their cannabis policy, you can watch my mini doc now at colememo.com/minidoc.
Yeah. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure that you hit that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And you too will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. And thank you to all of you that have tuned in on the regular. We truly, truly appreciate it. We surpassed 1 million views last week and want to thank all of you for that. I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi. Ah, yes. Coming up next, that's right. He's that psychedelic warrior that travels through the universe from galaxy to galaxy, even though he's always just sitting right there, sitting in his chair. That's right. Is none other than the Count himself, Mr. Mathieu St. Germain.
Thank you, Brother Jason, fellow correspondents, everybody out there in the chat keeping it spicy but friendly today. Really love and respect you all. I don't know what that meme is behind me, but I'm sure it's making fun of me. I welcome it. I've got a non-psychedelic story today, but it is still kind of psychedelic because if you do cannabis right, you can get psychedelic. Marijuana components show promising potential as anti-cancer agents. Study finds mechanisms of action are still. New scientific review on cannabis and cancer concludes that a variety of cannabinoids, including delta-9 THC, CBD, and cannabigerol, CBG, show promising potential as anti-cancer agents through various mechanisms. For example, by limiting the growth and spread. Authors acknowledge that obstacles to incorporating cannabis into cancer treatment remain, such as regulatory barriers and the need to determine optimal dosing. Cannabinoids, including delta-9 THC, CBD, and CBG, exhibit significant anti-cancer activities such as apoptosis induction, autophagy stimulation, cell cycle arrest, anti-proliferation, anti-angiogenesis, and metastasis inhibition, which is basically just saying they make the cells die prematurely because they are unhealthy, keep them from making new blood vessel inroads into the tumors, and they arrest the cell cycle, which means, again, they shut down the cycle of reproduction. This report was published late last month in the journal Discover Oncology. Clinical trials have demonstrated cannabinoids' efficacy in tumor regression and health improvement in palliative care. The workings behind those apparent benefits, however, are still largely unknown. The evident anti-cancer properties of cannabinoids from numerous experimental results, the review says, the exact mechanisms of action still require extensive research. Let's smoke a bunch of weed this week, you guys. We got research to do. Cannabinoids derived from plants, synthesized naturally in the human body, or produced artificially in laboratories, have demonstrated considerable therapeutic potential. Cannabis has been used medicinally for centuries in Asian and South Asian countries. The renaissance in therapeutic cannabinoids has sparked renewed research interest, extending their use to various medical conditions and cancer. Expanding our understanding of these mechanisms and their interactions with cancer cells, they conclude, better harness their therapeutic potential in oncology. Among the varieties of cancers covered in the research, breast cancer, glioma, leukemia, lung cancer, melanoma. Analysis also looked at the use of marijuana in palliative care, which is dying. People undergoing chemotherapy, noting that cannabinoids are significant in the palliative care as well as it helps in appetite regulation of pain, along with anti-nausea role. Some research also indicates that cannabinoids might have synergistic effects with chemotherapy, according to the review. Research suggests that cannabinoids may enhance the cytotoxic effects of chemotherapy through several mechanisms. For instance, cannabidiol, CBD, and delta-9 THC have been shown to induce apoptosis and reduce cell proliferation used in conjunction with certain chemotherapeutic agents. These cannabinoids modulate key pathways involved in cell cycle regulation and apoptosis, thereby increasing the susceptibility of cancer cells to chemotherapy-induced death. Cannabis is widely used to treat certain symptoms of cancer and some side effects of cancer treatment. Long been interest in the possible effects of cannabinoids on cancer itself. Scientific review of CBD earlier this year touched on diverse anti-cancer properties of cannabinoids that the authors said present promising opportunities for future therapeutic interventions and treatment. Research published late last year found that marijuana use was associated with improved cognition and reduced pain among cancer patients and people receiving chemotherapy. While cannabis produces intoxicating effects and that initial high can temporarily impair cognition, patients who use marijuana products from state-licensed dispensaries over 2 weeks actually started reporting clearer thinking. This study from the University of Colorado found. I think this is great news, and I'd love to see more research on this. Anything we can do to halt the spread of cancer is a great thing, and I'm looking forward to hearing both what my fellow correspondents and our host Jason Beck has to say about this. This is St. Germain on a Monday for the High at 9 News. Take it away, y'all.
Man, you know, I find this super interesting because now it seems as though, Mathieu St. Germain, that the researchers are as smart as the general public, because they're basically saying, hey, we know that this works, but we can't explain how it works because we can't figure it out yet.
And that's the role of good science, and good science that hasn't been overly affected by public policy and donations is not stating things that have not been proven through verifiable peer-reviewed studies. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, it's one thing to say that's a way that science protects us, because anyone can say, oh, look, I've got the healing super mouse. If you pay me $10,000, I'll come over and rub it on you, and it gets rid of all cancer.
Yeah.
And if we don't have the bulwark of science and medicine, although I know there are a ton of problems with it right now as well, people are then susceptible to quackery, faith healing, etc. On the converse, we also have the side of pharma industry and the science industry being corrupted by those same wills to money and power. I think we all need to continue to refine the system so it serves us more than serving itself, the powers that be. Good news is smoke weed. It's good for you.
I'm with that.
Amazing.
Yes, weed for the people, baby. Yarrow, are you with us?
I am.
Okay.
And what troubles me about this article...
Oh, boy.
There it is.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
What troubles me about this article is that, to me, this is the research equivalent of blue balls. I mean, we've been sitting here talking about the potential promise and the need for more research and the complexity of understanding over 150 different cannabinoids, much less the relationship between those cannabinoids and different concentrations or the interactions or synergistic effects of terpenes for a really long time. And I think it's going to require some angry, impatient people to say enough of talk about promise. We really need to start putting our money where our mouth is. And funding research and allowing research to occur within the United States and not just in Israel, not just overseas, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm not surprised by any of what this article has to say. I just think that any article that ends with this idea that we need more research, like, well, under what condition does we finally get a green light to conduct that research domestically with flush funding mechanisms so that that work can be done?
I think what we really need, and I talked about this before, and I've actually been writing a bit and trying to get people to help, because when it comes to like business and public policy, I'm an idiot. But at the same time, what we really need is a non-governmental agency that is pointed at the FDA, a public policy foundation that is a for-profit foundation that people can then donate to so they can get that money off of their taxes. It lobbies the FDA for, number one, a new research track that deals with plant and fungal medicinal sources that are not single molecule sources, and a funding avenue that isn't that does not require the end product of an FDA study a patentable molecule. So it would be a public policy foundation that would put money towards these studies, towards single molecule therapies that are not patentable, that could have great benefit for humans, as well as synergistic either plant, like ayahuasca, plant admixtures, and or plant or fungal compounds that contain a variety of alkaloids and other active ingredients. Until we have those research tracks in the FDA, this research is going to constantly be stymied and held back because of those particular problems. And that's why we see, for instance, cannabis research lagging behind psilocybin research. Because when we say psilocybin, we think mushrooms, because that's how we grew up interacting with psilocybin. But they're not doing mushroom research. What they're doing is they're doing psilocybin research with synthetic psilocybin molecules, right? They don't even do research on mushrooms, which in Europe are being shown, the mushroom and the full spectrum healing abilities of mushrooms are shown to be far more powerful than the single molecule therapy of psilocybin therapy. Really, it speaks to the way our system runs, the need to for a whole new track. Sorry, Jenny, go ahead.
Well, there's a larger issue over all that, right? And it's that until we have dealt with the federal illegality of cannabis, we are relegated to preclinical trials. We're not allowed to do clinical trials on a federally illicit substance. So we need a full deschedule so that we can actually do the research, get these actual clinical trials on humans. So we have this actually empirically verifiable data so that we can then turn around and say, hey, yes, medicine, told you so, here's how we told you so, and here's the scientific reason. And that's what it's going to take for people to start to understand. However, a reschedule is not going to do it, because then we're going to lock ourselves out of the fucking industry. So we need a full deschedule to be able to unlock all of these issues.
Fair enough, Jenny Beth, and maybe that's why they do want to go with a reschedule, because once they isolate all of these different compounds within cannabis, when the doctors prescribe something to you, they're going to be prescribing 30, 40, 50 bottles at a time for you for all these compounds, so then that way you have the full spectrum effect.
I mean, there's that, but I think it's more about locking down the fact that you're going to have a DEA license if we do a stupid reschedule as it's proposed right now to be able to sell cannabis, which puts all of us out of business for the most part, right? There are very few. There's like 6 DEA licenses that have cannabinoid things going on, right? And that's for a reason, because they're pushing for this. Who do you think is lobbying for a reschedule instead of a frickin' deschedule? It's those people that are big pharma that want to lock us out. It's the government trying to, and I've always said this, we're not going to fully legalize cannabis until the government figures out how to fully monetize it for themselves. And that's what we're looking at.
Interesting.
Government does hold the patents for THC and CBD.
And to be fair, in this article, it talks about a $3.2 million grant for the National Institute of Health. So that's obviously domestic. And to be fair, this is also from the National Cancer Institute's journal. And so there are some attempts on a federal level to continue to push forward the science in spite of the current issues that we all know and we've talked about at length, at nauseum here on the show. The thing for me is like, look, I got family members that have cancer right fucking now, and they've had cancer for a long time. And if we cure cancer through the use of cannabinoids as a result of research, and it happens after those people in my family have expired, I'm still going to be that angry elf on the shelf. I'm going to say it's great that we got to the outcome we wanted to get to, which was unlocking and understanding of this plant and the ways in which it can be therapeutic. But at what was the price? How many people suffered or how many people perished that maybe didn't need to that degree? And so, yeah, I'm proudly impatient and angry at the rate of change, which I think on some levels almost criminal.
And all right, well, we're gonna keep this train rolling, and we did have some results from this poll. What's your favorite flower to consume? LED, 28%, HPS, 22%. I can't believe that, but sun-grown, 38%. You guys, a lot of you guys. Man, ouch, ouch, ouch.
Let me find out. Swami voted in our poll 18 times.
And people that are grown and people that are just confused. There's 12% of y'all that don't understand what any of that means. It means you need to watch the show a little more.
12% with the margin of error between HPS and LED calls into question the results of this poll. Plus, we also know that if you're buying regulated cannabis,
this was not done. This was not done on a Dominion voting machine, bro. Stop the ridiculous.
No, you're right. Otherwise, it probably would have been more safe. I get that. But nonetheless, the other thing we need to remember is that the majority of jars of cannabis in regulated stores don't indicate what the light source was. Like, they may say, hey, this is sun-grown, or hey, this is indoor. But
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That had nothing to do with the question.
Well, actually, it does matter, because if people are getting their cannabis from regulated stores where the packaging doesn't indicate the source of illumination, then any of the cannabis they get from those stores, how are they going to make an opinion, an educated opinion about what they prefer? So either they're getting that from the trap, or they're getting it from prior to having those programs in their state, or they're
growing it themselves, Yarrow.
I think about that? Have that level of home growers.
You ever think about that? You ever think about that?
That would make me giddy.
I mean, fair enough. As Yarrow gets giddy, we're going to go to a commercial break.
I'm Jason Beck, and this is Smoky Vanilla. And if you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to get a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
Hi, I'm Smoky Vanilla. I have my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I'm a sports massage therapist and stretch coach. I focus mostly on individuals that are in sport with chronic pain or injury. I love to intuitively create and customize a session based on the individual that I'm working with. We'll go over a few postural assessments, work together to create a wellness journey based on the health history, past injuries, or anything still affecting you today. And we'll get you back on your feet right away with less pain.
We're about to stretch, and then we're going to smoke, because we're going to get on our stretch and smoke. If you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to come on down and get a stretch and smoke with none other than Smoky Vanilla.
Oh, man.
And we are back. That's right. Coming up next, that's right, it is that Southern thing that's here to tell you a thing or two about life, money, business, compliance, and most importantly, all about yourself. That's right. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis and of Justice Serve, a 501c3. It is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
Oh, man. Did you call me a thing?
Southern thing.
All right. Well, we're going back to Arkansas because it's fucked up down there, you guys. And guess who's involved? Project Sam. The Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation is officially opposing the medical marijuana amendment of 2024, but their reasons remain somewhat unclear. This Monday, the organization established a ballot question committee to rally against the proposed amendment, which seeks to broaden access to medical marijuana. In the past, the Farm Bureau also opposed a recreational marijuana legalization effort, spending over $34,000 on advertisements. However, their recent paperwork doesn't outline a specific reason for opposing this amendment. Spokesman Steve Eddington stated their opposition stems from their broader policy positions on marijuana, which notably do not directly address the medical marijuana amendment currently at hand. The amendment would allow more medical professionals to certify patients and expand the qualifying conditions for medical marijuana, among other changes. Eddington pointed out that while the organization's policies are updated annually, none specifically pertain to this year's amendment. Meanwhile, other groups like Protect Arkansas Kids and Stronger Arkansas have also formed to oppose this expansion. As the discussion evolves, the Arkansas Farm Bureau stance raises questions about their views on medical versus recreational marijuana and the implications for Arkansas residents. So once again, here's Arkansas fighting against access. But we don't know why, right? We have no reason. We have no verifiable issues that we can point to, but we just don't want it. So I think that this really sucks. I would love to see a little bit more expanded access in Arkansas, and I think they're going to have a tough time pushing everything through. I'd love to say that we've seen positive news, but it seems like we've seen a lot of back and forth and a lot more people stepping up to oppose than maybe consciously advocating. So I'll throw it back to you guys. I'd love to hear your opinions on this one.
Yeah, they didn't really give a real reason as to why they opposed this, did they, Jenny? It just sounded like they just went round and round on a merry-go-round.
They were just like, I don't like it. And let's be real. That's the real issue. People don't understand it, so they're scared of it. So they just vote no and vehemently oppose something that they truly don't understand instead of taking the time and the personal onus to actually do some research and learn what access would mean for people. This Protect Arkansas Kids. Why don't you look and see how many kids have been helped by this plant? Why don't you see how many kids aren't having constant seizures and are able to go play outside because of this plant? You want to protect kids, find out what you're protecting them from, because when you're stopping access, you're not protecting kids. You're bringing more people in who will gladly sell to your children because you definitely can't buy it at a shop.
Very true. Mathieu St. Germain, what do you got to say?
I've been to Arkansas. It frightened me. I went a couple years in a row, and I had to stop. Actually,
it frightened me.
On this, I was. They have a thing called Mudstock. It's about 7,000 to 10,000 people. It's a week long, 4x4 competitions in the day, rock music festival at night. I did the play-by-play for the 4x festival with a helmet cam running by next to these fucking cars while they're doing the hill climbs and all this stuff.
That sounds awesome.
And I emceed the festival at night.
Oh boy,
it was fun. It was gnarly. I did it for 2 years in a row, and then I was like, I'm good on Arkansas. I love it there. It's beautiful, but luck, guys. Arkansas.
Yeah, sounds like a lot, bud.
Interesting.
I got
the
FOMO.
thing is, in the South, we're still dealing with a couple thousand years of Christian propaganda and programming, and really, folks get brave enough to embrace the fact that we live in an ocean of chaos and we do not know actually where we come from or where we are going. We are all going to die.
I know where I come from and I know where I'm going.
At the time that we die, we are going to be alone and there will be no pause button. And take responsibility for that and stop giving their power away to other people who tell them it's going to be okay. We're constantly going to have this. We're going to have people who are willing to give their thought processes over to a religious leader, to a strong man, to a guru figure, to some sort of space daddy who's going to take your power, take your money, abuse you because they offer you peace of mind that you are going to be okay.
Mathieu St. Germain. Mathieu St. Germain.
Look you in the mirror. Tell yourself, I'm not going to be okay. I'm going to die. It could be fucking horrific. But you know what I am going to do? I'm going to greet my death as a warrior with my eyes open. I am going to retain my power. I am going to be clear thinking and clear acting and will help other people. And then maybe, as Jenny said, people can do more research, do more reading instead of watching YouTube videos to educate themselves, begin making better choices for themselves and others.
Mathieu St. Germain, have you ever seen Reservoir Dogs?
Yes, sir.
You're going to be okay.
No one is going to be okay, but that's okay.
You're going to be okay, I promise. You are going to be okay. What do you have to say about this, Yarrow?
Here we go.
Reservoir Dogs was my favorite romantic comedy for sure. And
that was a romantic comedy.
I get, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it's easy for us on the coastal states to kind of beat up on either the Midwest or the Deep South. I think that's totally unfair, and I'll probably continue to participate in a little bit of that geography shaming. That said, as Mathieu is sharing his experiences in this state, I'm thinking it sounds kind of fun down there. And I'm thinking that
I want to check out this event.
The majority of the people there probably want a bit more of an enlightened view with cannabis policy. Even if it's not for them, I think most of the people in these areas would agree that personal freedoms, the right to self-determination, the ability to make adult choices if you are an adult, et cetera, does actually probably align with their worldview. So I don't know that the majority of people feel that adding in regulated cannabis is going to somehow be an end to their civil and polite society as they know it, but it's probably it's not a big issue for people who don't have a family member who is suffering with a malady that could potentially be mitigated or cured or reduced through the use of medical cannabis. And so I just, it's like you talk to a lot of people who say that they're not in favor of gay rights, but then as you start talking to them, turns out they have a cousin who's gay as a $3 bill, and they're like, yeah, well, fuck them gays, except for my cousin Andy. And then you're like, oh, well, but what about cousin Andy? Doesn't he kind of represent maybe more than just your cousin? Then you start diving down, and they're like, well, okay, fine. People should be able to marry whoever the fuck they want as long as it's not my decision. Great. So you are in favor of same-sex marriages. And you have to sort of tease that out of them. And I feel like that's the same thing when it comes to certainly medical cannabis and to a lesser but still pretty significant degree adult use cannabis. And even people who aren't really thinking that it's for them, as you start to drill down, they're like, well, yes, adults should probably be able to make that choice for themselves. And so I just think that until we get to a place where every state has a program, we've got a real lack of progress. And at the end of the day, it's patients and people who are just seeking low impact homeostasis for themselves without maybe the use of other intoxicants. It's just unfortunate that they can't have the access that's become normalized in so many other markets.
Fair. I'm going to yes and what Yarrow said and say that all of this represents what we're seeing so much in our political theater on social media and even on the High at Night News. Every decision is a decision between fear and love. You can use logic to decide to really discern and define what your decision is based on. Is your decision based on fear, or is your decision based on love?
Well, I'm just going to say in regards to this, I wish the Department of Agriculture over there would get it together, because actually they should be embracing cannabis, because cannabis is an agricultural commodity, and they need to look at it from that approach as opposed to this misguided, uneducated stigma that it has carried along with it for so many years. But nonetheless, do you all know that Henry Ford made a Model T that was completely made of hemp? Yes.
Body panels were hemp fiber, like carbon fiber, using hemp resin to
hemp was outlawed, bro. Back then, hemp was outlawed. That's what it comes down to.
The upholstery was all hemp fabric. There's actually a video of him smashing the car trunk with a baseball bat. And he cannot dent the trunk, and this was in like 1910 or something. The car also run on hemp seed oil as well. And I think that's what we really need to see in the hemp space is people getting away from smokable hemp and digging into industrial hemp.
Yep, I'm all about that.
Substitutes.
I am all about that, 100%.
Completely agree.
Well, I'm gonna roll into my last story, you guys. I think you guys will find some humor in this. I know when I saw this headline,
make me laugh, funny man.
Yes, because there's a lawyer, you guys, who is accused of storing 1,000 pounds of marijuana at his law office, enters a guilty plea, you guys. That's right. A Virginia lawyer has been temporarily suspended after pleading guilty for his role in a conspiracy to distribute large amounts of marijuana. That's right. Lawyer Mathieu Taylor, maybe they should say former lawyer Mathieu Taylor Morris, 38 of Virginia Beach, Virginia, was suspended effective October 1st and ordered to show cause why his law license should be further suspended or revoked. According to a September 27th show cause order, the legal profession blog noted the temporary suspension and a September 24th press release on Morris's guilty plea. Morris allowed other participants in the conspiracy to store 1,000 pounds of marijuana and cash proceeds at his Virginia Beach law firm, the top-tier law group, prosecutors said. The street value of the marijuana products ranged from $800,000 to $1.6 million, according to a statement of facts signed by Morris and filed with the show cause order. Morris also allowed a co-conspirator to store cash proceeds from marijuana sales at his law office, the statement said. And in one photo taken at the law office, a co-conspirator posed with more than $100,000 in cash. On the wall behind him are Morris's diplomas and legal credentials. And as a compensation, Morris received part of his monthly rent for his law office from a co-conspirator. In a quote, for several months beginning in late 2021, end quote, prosecutors said Morris also received 70 pounds of THC products at a rate of 15 pounds per month that he could sell to his customers. Man, he was a trapping lawyer, man. You guys getting it. Morris also allegedly received a handgun from a co-conspirator, even though Morris is unlawfully used Adderall, cocaine, opiates, and THC, prosecutors said. Man, this guy's a party
fucking
animal.
Party, Jason.
Yeah. And Morris is a former prosecutor in Portsmouth, Virginia, who resigned from the Commonwealth Attorney's Office on September 6th, 4 days after the indictment. And WVEC reported here. Morris joined the prosecution's office 3 months after the drug conspiracy allegedly ended in May of 2022, according to the Virginia Pilot. And Morris pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute marijuana and possession with intent to distribute marijuana. His sentencing is scheduled for January 22nd, you guys, 2025. And Morris is represented by lawyer James O. Broccoliti in the criminal case, and he did not immediately respond to an ABA Journal email seeking comment, you guys. Well, what do you think about this? This guy sounds trap-tastic. This I think he might be able to beat out Better Call Saul. What do y'all have to say about this?
Well, justice served would have helped you, bud, if it wasn't for all the cocaine, Adderall, and the gun making this not a nonviolent offense. Mm-hmm. This guy is wildin'.
Right.
Oh my goodness. He like swung for the fences. He's all coked up on a Thursday night. He's like, you know, it'd be cool, dude. I'd probably make more money if I just like stored weed. Like we do storage agreements all the time too. The difference is we're licensed to do so. Might I suggest a public storage would have been better than your law office, sir? What a jackass. And I want to see the money phone picture because, you know, they're holding a bag up to one ear and the money phone up to the other and answering, you know?
I wonder if it was all in hundreds or if it was a whole bunch of 20s.
Better be in hundreds. Public service announcement. Don't pay people in bills smaller than hundreds.
I mean, with all of his lawyer certificates in the background, too, like crazy.
What a moron. This guy gets an F for fucking failure.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but here's the thing, right? Like, there are people who wish they were in other jobs, roles, and professions. And I think there's a lot of lawyers that feel stifled by just the boringness of practicing law and really would like an infusion of excitement in their lives. When we had a cannabis cultivation collective in California prior to Proposition 64 passing, one of our civil attorneys solicited us to be an investor in our business, and we didn't say yes to him. But I do think that these folks get a little tired of just picking up their white collar shirts from the dry cleaner and spell checking their most recent document. And so he probably had a very boring life and didn't understand that he could probably take up paintball on the weekends with his guy friends and get just as much excitement as he needed to have a fulfilling life.
I'll tell you what, Yarrow, you know what I think? This is kind of like what you get when you mix Law and Order Special Victims Unit with Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I mean, this is why you don't listen. If your lawyer is hitting this thing at your arraignment, go with somebody else. He's not the guy. It's not allergies.
It's not allergies.
Zyrtec can't fix that.
Oh boy.
That's I mean, like, listen, this is just, it's so flagrant. It also sounds like he pissed somebody in his office off. Because,
he was getting paid.
You know, not only were they like, hey, he's selling weed, he's getting paid to store weed, this is how much he's getting a month to serve his own client.
He was collecting 15 pounds of weed for rent.
Hold on. But they're also like, and he's a cokehead, sniffs Adderall. So,
man,
somebody snitched on him heavily. I'm sure he'll figure it out when the discovery comes down. But like, just flagrant little moron.
Man.
We cover a few of those on this show.
Literally.
Fair enough, you guys. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big thank yous to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst for helping us keep the lights on over here. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do all of this. And thank you to Cloud Media Partners. Millie in the building today. Yes, and thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.